Good morning. It's Thursday, February 5th, 2015. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 128. My name is Chris, and it's Tech Talk today, as you know, but I can't help but think about TechSnap. I'm sorry. I'm here for you today for Tech Talk. I am. I'm going to be here. I'm present, but my mind, my soul, my heart, it's in TechSnap today because it's TechSnap 200 coming up later today on the JB live stream. I'm all excited. I don't really have, I can't share much, but we have a few surprises. We have a special episode planned, and but I'm here. I'll stop talking about it. I'm totally here. And to help keep me in line, to make sure I stay with my eyes on the prize, is our Mumble Room. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Salutations.
Hello.
Hello.
I've got a whip and I'm not afraid to use it.
Hey, guys. All right, so let's get into the news this week. And it's not a super busy news week, at least news that actually matters. But at first glance, I thought the story about this Twitter story was not worth talking about. And then I kind of thought about the longer-term ramifications, and I think this is actually a pretty huge deal. And I think it shows a huge shift inside Twitter as well. So what am I talking about? Twitter has finally reached a deal with Google to show tweets in real time in Google search results. This is something that Google had attempted to do when the Twitter feed was a little more open, and Twitter shut them down. Now, at first you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of, but if you think back through the history of these companies, this has been a major fight for Google, and I think one of the reasons they launched Google Plus was because they didn't have access to this Twitter feed. And the thing that this Twitter feed does is you'll probably notice whenever there's an emergency thing or something really big happening, and it could span the whole range of anything from an earthquake for our friends in California. We've seen that happen quite a few times on Twitter. Michael Jackson dying was a big one that stood out for me. Super Bowls or crazy things on TV, even things like the Oscars, all these kinds of things that happen in real time. When you want to get information about that stuff that people are saying about something that you just saw 30 seconds ago on the TV, you don't go to Google for that. Google's not going to have that, right? Google's going to have that in a solid 24 hours. They'll have that in their index, maybe even better, that somebody said it somewhere on a web page, especially if somebody blogs and links to it and embeds a video and has Google AdWords embedded. Then you're definitely going to find it in Google search results the next day when you look for it. But if you want it right now, you check Twitter. Of course, but that's not how average people think. Regular consumers don't think, oh, you know what? Well, if I want something real time, I search this website, and if I want something that searches the entirety of the internet, I search this website. Right? That's not. It's all on the web to them. So this has always been a major weak spot for Google that I think has been disappointing for average consumers. They look for searching for something. And now Google's going to be able to, you search for the Super Bowl, right? And Google's going to be able to show you tweets in real time. Google's going to have a fancy real-time updating gizmo in the search results. You're going to start seeing it in the first half of this year, or maybe even in the first quarter. I think Google's ready to go on this. What's interesting, though, is, according to Bloomberg, this underscores the progress that Twitter's chief executive officer, Dick Costolo, I can't even talk this morning, I haven't had my coffee, is making in getting tweets seen by more than non-users and generating more advertising revenue, i.e., they're hoping this will generate more click-throughs and then generate more ad revenue once you're on the Twitter site. Yeah, that's about it. In Mumble Room, you guys have anything to add to this story? Non-plus, not all that interesting, big deal? What says you?
Just Twitter is Twitter, and it's just, it kind of makes sense that they're going to show the tweets in Google search results. That's actually really cool because that makes it one-stop shopping for searches as far as.
And let's be honest, it was a little awkward that they weren't there before.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that mean it's no longer part of the dark web?
Twitter. Well, I think there was other sites.
Ever?
Yeah, I think there's other sites that had full access to it. It was just sort of the Googs that got... people really hate it when you say the Googs. Hey, guys, in your opinion, is Googs, is that a derogative term towards Google? I actually kind of consider it to be kind of like a loving term in a way.
My son calls it Googie.
Googie, that's a good one.
Googie, I'll go for. Goog seems a bit like a Goomba, kind of a...
No, I don't know.
A big dummy.
Oh, calling him like a goober kind of a thing?
Yeah, it's an Italian slang for a big... thug, kind of dim-witted.
It's actually slang for something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. All right. See, I didn't know that.
Goomba.
See, where I got Googs from is because of Google. So I just...
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like...
what do I know?
What's the other one? Eric's kid calls it. That sounds more.
Googie, yeah.
Yeah, Googie. That just makes me well up.
All right. Well, not that any of this has any relevance at all to the news. I just I just have been getting a lot of feedback about that recently, and I didn't mean any disrespect by calling them the Googs. I was actually kind of an endearing term. I think it's kind of a funny way to say Google, and everybody says Google. Everybody hears the word Google a million times a day, so I just wanted to say it differently. I'm sorry.
That new guy you got calls it Googs quite a bit.
And he's got Google Glass on his head, so he obviously doesn't mean any disrespect, right?
He's a Goog.
Oh, wow. All right, okay. All right, so moving right along, like I said, not a horribly big news day, and this is one of the things that drives me crazy. This is all over all of the tech press right now. We'll go through Quote Story because they're the ones getting cited the most. But literally every tech press everywhere is running the story. Apple is talking to TV programmers about launching its own Apple Web TV service to compete more with Netflix, with web viewing and streaming. Who cares? And here's the other thing. There's no information in this article at all. There's absolutely nothing new. What literally every single article does is rehash the litany of rumors that come out about an Apple TV service every single year, at least once or twice a year. Supposedly, according to this article, like with all previous rumors, Apple's gone around, shown it to executives. They've demoed the service. They're fighting over pricing terms that, just like every single time, the media companies are not happy with. Apparently, Apple has proposed even a $30 a month subscription service at one point, and the TV providers weren't happy with it. It appears that, this is once again a rumor. Apple has declined to make any comments about it. Okay, so there's that. It drives me crazy that this stuff gets coverage. I'll say this, though.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
If Apple were to launch it, I would check it out. If they, depending on the DRM situation, and if it was like genuine like H.264 streaming and not like a Flash thing, which I don't think Apple would launch a Flash thing. If it works in a web browser.
I'm just sitting here face palming because every time Apple tries something like this, whether it be iBooks or whatever, they fall flat on their face, with the exception of iTunes, but only because iTunes was the first of its kind. So I'm not giving this one too much hope at all. Even if it is true, I mean, it's clearly just a rumor at this point.
Okay. All right. I'll take it. All right. Well, I mentioned at the top of the show, TechSnap 200 is coming up. Two stories that I'm going to be reading up a little bit after we get off the air here and talking more in TechSnap. This story is a good one coming out of Forbes. Forget North Korea. Russian hackers are selling access to Sony Pictures, claims a U.S. security firm. Tally Global has suggested this bold claim that Russian hackers have been silently siphoning off information from the Sony network for the last few months and may have been the ones responsible for the catastrophic attacks in November, which the U.S. blamed on North Korea. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're blaming the Russians.
Go figure.
They say the Russians may have been working unwittingly alongside the Guardians of Peace hackers, however, who were there. So either way, it's just this is some great speculation soup. The next story, not so much speculation. This one's not such a good one. Millions were hit by a compromise at a health company. The health company Anthem, I think is how you say it. Anthem. It's America's second largest health insurer. They've lost millions of health records. The records include things like social security numbers, address, birthdays, every business unit you visited. Of course, your first and last name. So 37 million customers were using its health records. Don't know how many of those millions have had their information leaked. Security company FireEye has already been hired to investigate. It always happens like that now. So we'll talk about that on TechSnap 200 later today in the roundup.
I'm going to be very interested to hear what Alan says about this.
Yeah. Then again, I don't claim maybe Alan has other plans, but I plan to talk. If we have time, I plan to talk about that. And last but not least, since it is TechSnap 200 today, why don't I give one more plug to the TechSnap 200 T-shirt with the brand new, clean TechSnap logo. We got it in a T-shirt. You can get it in gray or white. We've also have the ladies' tee as well as a hoodie, which looks slick, really slick. And then what I've really been liking from these runs are these long sleeve shirts. So that's what I'll be getting is some of these gray long sleeve shirts. I love these. So you go over to teespring.com/TechSnap, teespring.com/TechSnap, and you get the episode 200 T-shirt. Check it out. Boy, that looks good on white too. Oh man, I am really excited about this. We'll be talking more about it in TechSnap 200 today, but it's just a cool way to get a little JB swag. We're not going to run a lot of these, so go grab it while we do it. It's got how many? 27 towards a goal of 100. So we've got, next should be a Kickstarter of the week. 27 towards a goal of 100 with 19 days, 10 hours, 44 minutes left. So you got time, but you know what? Sometimes that stuff goes surprisingly quick. Teespring.com/TechSnap.
I haven't seen it yet, but does it say, have you patched your S yet?
Not on this one, because some people didn't like that because they couldn't wear it to work.
NSFW.
Yes. So this time, no Allen face, no swearing. But it doesn't mean that we couldn't always one day do another one. I think it's a good slogan that people need to consider. But
it is. There's, there's a Buddhist monk whose slogan is "Karma will get the bastards," and they won't put that on his calendar.
All right. So that's pretty much all. That's all the stories. I mean, there's other news that's floating around this week, but that's all I really had a lot. I think we might hear more about the FCC's net neutrality plans, Title II plans, later today, I think. But I'm not positive about that. Of course, there's just going to not be a lot until I think the 26th or the 27th. So that's definitely a story that's in development, but there's nothing really to report on today, as it were. All right, guys. So we'll wrap it up there. If you saw something, you're like, oh man, they totally should have talked about this. Why didn't they talk about this? If that's you right now, then you need to go over to techtalktoday.reddit.com and then submit that story. I just checked there right before I went on air to see if there's any other great stories we should slip in. And there we go. We actually went through, and that's one of the other fun things we do is we sometimes talk about those stories on the pre-show. I invite you to join the pre-show, jblive.tv, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. I got one more show in me this week, tomorrow. So you can join me. We go Tuesday through Friday. And then I take Saturdays off because I have to go hang upside down like Bruce Wayne in Batman 1. So that way I can recoup. Sunday, that Linux Action Show is pre-recorded. A little public service announcement here for you guys, huh? I'm hooking you up with the 411. Sunday's episode of Linux Action Show is pre-recorded. However, not only will we be releasing that episode, but we'll also be live during our regular time. Aren't you glad you know that now? So this is why you listen. You get a little insider scoop here on the Tech Talk Today show. So join us. We're going to be doing some tech testing. We're working on a slick remote video setup, all under Linux, and we're going to work out a way to shoot that so it looks good. And I don't want to give away too much, really, but we'd love to have you join us and hang out with us Sunday. We'll just be hanging out, talking Linux, and screwing around with video streaming and stuff like that. So that'll be on Sunday's show. And there's no faux show this Sunday either. So there's your community PSAs for today. All right. Thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you tomorrow. And I have one commercial that I thought was we've talked about some of these older computer commercials. But one of the things that was huge during this older PC revolution was the rapid advancement of the Intel processor and just how fast during those early days, right after the 486, and then when the Intel Pentium landed, that was a really big deal. And then the Pentium 2 came out, and there was only one family that was fully capable of marketing this brand new awesome processor.
For years, Intel technicians have been making PCs smarter. Now they face their greatest challenge ever.
Hey, no one messes with my brain until I get sprinkles. Suckers.
Now anyone can have all the brain power they want. Just look for a PC with an Intel processor inside.
By eliminating covalence inhibitors, we create triple-dense carbohydrates and thus the so-called super donut. Many of you mock my interest in the pastry sciences.
What do you have inside?